I'm Deputy Editor Lynn Wise here at Stratfor, and with me today is Adriano Bosoni, Europe Analyst. Today we're going to be talking about Europe's migrant crisis in the wake of Commission President Juncker's comments this morning. So, Adriano, first for a little context, why the spike in asylum seekers to Europe?
Many of the men and women are fleeing war. That's the case for Syrians arriving in Europe. Others are fleeing extreme poverty, which is the case of people arriving from sub-Saharan Africa, places like Eritrea and other countries. And most of these men and women hope to find safety for them and their families and a job in Europe, which explains why specific countries like Germany and the United Kingdom, which are some of the strongest economies in Europe, are seeing a significant surge in the arrival of asylum seekers. But at the same time, as many of these men and women arrive in Europe by crossing the Mediterranean, they also end up being in countries like Greece and Italy. And as a result, we have a continent-wide crisis of immigration.
So it seems like all of these different European countries really have different ideas about how to best manage this crisis. Why is the issue creating so many divisions?
It's creating divisions because countries are reacting depending on their geographical position. We have countries in the EU's external borders, such as Hungary, Greece, and Italy, demanding more money to cope with the immigrant crisis and demanding a fair distribution of immigrants in the continent. And then we have countries in the receiving end, like Germany, Austria, demanding a fairer distribution of immigrants and demanding other countries, most notably countries like Spain or Poland, to take their fair share of the burden. And as a result, we have a EU Commission, as you were saying, that is struggling to come up with a comprehensive strategy. And we see that up to this day, we still have countries, most notably in Central and Eastern Europe, opposing the imposition of mandatory quotas. And at the same time, there is also an ideological debate going on with countries like Hungary accusing Germany of creating a pull factor by opening its borders to immigrants, or countries like the UK questioning rescue operations in the Mediterranean because they say that they encourage people from trying to cross the Mediterranean. So we have a combination of political interest, ideological differences, and the geographic position of each country.
Well, and because we're really calling this a crisis, but at the same time, we've said that this could actually be a good thing for some European countries. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, Europe is facing demographic change. For decades, European countries have seen dropping fertility rates, that is, a drop in the number of children that families are having, and at the same time, life expectancy is improving. So as a result, most countries in Europe are seeing their populations age, they are becoming older, but also they will start shrinking. And this, to a certain extent, also explains why the European countries are reacting in different ways to the crisis. We see a country like Germany, which has the lowest fertility rates in Europe, realizing that it may need some extra workers. Germany is projected to lose some 10 million people because of demographic change over the next 4 decades. So it would make sense for them to receive a larger number of workers to contribute and to pay taxes and to support the country's fiscal situation. And on the other hand, we see countries like the UK, which have a relatively healthier demographic situation. Their population will continue to grow over the next decade, so they don't really need those immigrants. So that's part of the explanation. That being said, what makes sense from an economic or demographic point of view may not necessarily make sense from a political point of view, because even in those countries where immigration could be beneficial, it's a very politically sensitive issue, and we have seen political parties reacting to what they perceive as a threat to their culture and to their economies.
But rather than a problem, should this be seen as a solution to Europe's demographic concerns?
No, I don't think so. The most immigration can do is to somewhat mitigate the effect of demographic change. We know that if workforces keep shrinking, then it will come with heavy fiscal challenges for those countries because there will be fewer people paying taxes and working and paying for the retirement of the older people. But immigration will only mitigate that situation. Even among immigrant families, fertility rates are dropping. This is a change across the board. Everywhere on earth, fertility rates are dropping and life expectancy is improving. So I don't think European countries can actually reverse the process. They can try to adapt to it. They can try to mitigate its effects, but this reality, I don't think, can be changed.
Thank you, Adriano. This definitely doesn't seem like a problem that with an easy solution. It will be interesting to see what comes from the EU talks. For more on immigration and Europe, please visit stratfor.com.